Hi, 465. This is part 3 of content on morphological analysis instruction as a way to support advanced decoding. I am on what is slide 45 in the PowerPoint that is linked on Canvas, and it's the slide that says 6-step teaching routine with embedded self-regulation procedures. The content in this section, I will move in place into week 7, vocabulary 1. So I'm going to bypass the explanation of the 6-step teaching routine. I think that might work better in a live session. And I'm going to skip to the instructional activities content. There's maybe 5 or 6 slides here that give ideas for reinforcing morphological awareness and having students do some analysis work outside of the context of a text, so working with words in isolation. Some of these I know we wrote about in the article with the richest strategy, and that's linked on Canvas under resources. But the slide says morphology is fun, and it really is. On the image is a word matrix, and so this is formed with the section of the matrix that's the longest, has the word heal, H-E-A-L, and then any prefix that can be affixed to that word is positioned in front of it. So unheal, but unheal doesn't necessarily sound like a word that would stand on its own. All of the affixes that are suffixes come after, so we can see that we could use this matrix to build unhealthy if we apply the thy suffixes. Unhealthiest, healthiest, healing, healed. So the idea of the matrix is just to kind of give a container where all of the affixes and roots that you can use to build words with that root appear, and they can serve as a future resource or just as a way to think about, like, what other ones could I add to this list? Does this really belong? Should I take it out and replace it? So kind of fostering some of the thinking that you can do to make words that sound meaningful and sound like words that we can actually use in reading, writing, speaking, thinking. The next is a morphology notebook where prefixes are on the semi-cutout tags of paper. When you lift and fold back on this foldable here, you can see the definition of what the prefix means. Maybe underneath it on the page, there could be example words to represent how that prefix affixes itself to actual words. Same thing with the suffix page. So if you like foldables, or if that's a helpful tool for your student, that could be another way to build morphological awareness. These are some other ideas, taking plastic Easter eggs and putting a root word and suffix together, prefix and root word together, just having the morphemes on different sides of that egg, and then when they open it up, inside could be slips of paper that you would have students provide the possible definition of what that word would mean. Maybe they would write the word in a sentence. Maybe they would write other words that could be formed with either part. The same idea here with the popsicle sticks, and this is mainly a sorting for prefix, root word, suffix. You can lay them out in sort according to category. You could pick from each cup to try to see who has the best popsicle, who can build the word that's the best. It doesn't have to be popsicles. You could use your imagination to make the shapes something other than popsicles. In the same kind of idea of foldables, Rather than having a notebook, this is just folded sheets of paper that have cutouts in them so that students can lift the flap and see a definition or write more about the words. I kind of like to see different examples because I don't necessarily visualize this on my own. I'm sure there is a Pinterest for morphological awareness page that already exists or might be coming soon. I don't know, but it does seem like there are some fun possibilities for how you can have students build up their understanding of word parts. In order to have students do that, it really is helpful to spend time thinking about structure of language and assessing your own awareness of morphology. A couple of resources that I have found helpful and that I often go to when I'm planning a lesson is the Etymology Online Dictionary. This is a free dictionary you could type a word in and understand its etymology. That helps make the roots of the word a little bit clearer, so you can kind of peer into the meaning of a word through this online resource. There are a few other resources that I think are helpful. On this slide, my favorite vocabulary websites are more relevant for the explicit teaching routine, but I do think that you can find content on morphology and use resources from these sites to select instructional passages that you might use and find additional exercises. So Vocabulary, Vocabulary, vocabAtoZ.com, and then the readwritethink.org. That's from the National Councils for Teachers of English. So think of like secondary English teachers, high school English teachers. That's the main audience of that website. There is a TED Talk, and I know I'm going to mention it in a couple other places in this class, but I think it's just fascinating. Gina Cook, and this is Cooke for her last name, has a TED Talk called Making Sense of Spelling. And the link that's on the slide is actually not to the TED Talk, that's to the Etymology Online. So if you were to go into Google and type Making Sense of Spelling, Gina Cook, her TED Talk will come up, and I think she gives helpful insight into just building awareness of language structure. So in week 7 of our class, 465, I will provide more information on the explicit teaching routine, and right now it's just references that I've mentioned throughout the presentation so far, and word sorts, and one final piece that I'll address is a really fun one, the multi-meaning words, and a way to build skills for students to detect the ambiguity and meaning of words through a procedure that my colleague and I implemented and tested in 4th grade classrooms. So I'm going to end this presentation here, and this is the part 3 of the 3-part video series on our content from Advanced Decoding Skills, mostly focused on morphological awareness and morphological analysis skills.